Well, you mentioned Luukkonen. Should we get into what was probably the biggest conversation heading into last night, and which could have been the big conversation heading into today, had it not gone the way it did?
Yeah. I texted in our group chat before the game. I said, if UPL has a rough night, I have some not so kind words to say about Lindy Ruff and the Sabres, but it did work out. But the goaltending,
That doesn't feel fair. That doesn't feel fair. What would you have? Let's say he had a bad game. Let's say he let in 4 goals.
I would have said why. I don't understand why Colton Ellis hasn't played a game yet. Since he plays one game, had like 3 goals saved above expected. Like, he had an incredible game. And obviously UPL had such a bad first game. I couldn't believe. I mean, I could believe it, but I don't think it's the right decision that Colton Ellis hasn't played another game since. Like, if you're not going to play 3 goalies, then don't carry 3 goalies. I don't get that. Like, Alex,
they're going to lose. They know they're going to. He's not. Have you seen the current St. Louis Blues goalie situation? Have you seen like the Ottawa Senators goalie situation?
I understand.
He's not
completely.
surviving waivers.
I fully understand that. I just think it's a waste of a roster spot to have 3 goalies. We've had this conversation for 2 or 3 years now. So I agree with you, but if you have 3 goalies, you have to play all 3 of them. You can't just let a roster spot just waste right there. I don't even know if he's dressed. Like, I'm pretty sure it's only been UPL and Alex Lyon dressing.
I mean, I feel like they would probably just tell you he's hurt right now.
I think he's been practicing though. Like, I know he's had some things pop up, but I thought he's been practicing.
I didn't. This is probably where most people are going to disagree. I don't disagree with the move at all. Like, I seriously mean, I don't disagree with it at all. I fully understand why they did it, and I actually 100% support it. Which I know is probably, I feel like a lot of people are going like, why? It's Luukkonen. Why would you want him starting in that spot? Why, what has he done to deserve the second start? And I understand that. I don't think this team makes the playoffs if he's not if he's not good this season, if he doesn't give them 45 to 50 starts. I don't think they make the playoffs.
I mean, at this point, I feel like that would be a very high mark, but I know what you're getting at. I mean, considering Lions already started 9 games, UPL would have to start, 45 in the next 7?
He would have to be the starting goalie, which I think he has to be if they want to make the playoffs. I'm happy to be proven wrong. I don't think they make the playoffs if Alex Lyon's their starter.
I don't disagree with you. The premise of what you're saying, I agree with. Like, I think if the Sabres do have a good season, UPL probably is their starting goaltender. Lyon had a very good first 7 games. His 8th game was all right, and then obviously his 9th game was not good.
Yeah, he wasn't good in Boston. I thought he was borderline.
He was the reason we
bad.
lost that game.
I mean, I know what was the first goal of the game. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to jog my memory. I mean, I know I know it's David Pasternak, and I know he kind of faked a pass, but he just kind of got beat clean, and that was very savable. The 3rd goal was atrocious, and I know the 4th goal in overtime was a clear shot, but Jack Quinn took away the pass on the 2-on-1. It was Lyon versus Kuznetsov, and he just beat him clean over the glove.
He was the reason he lost that game.
I thought, yeah. And I know it's one bad game. I know it's the first bad game. I just think with Lyon, this is what he does. Like, this is his career, and it's a good thing you can rely on it. And he's never been a bad goalie. It's just, I don't know, especially considering the style of hockey this team plays. Like, when he was in Detroit and he started, I mean, what did he start that season? What was it, 40 games, I believe it was? The year that they nearly made the playoffs, missed by a point. He started 44 games. And, .904 save percentage, 3.05 goals against. Like, That's a good season. Let's see if I can pull up some of the advanced numbers super quickly. That's a starting goalie's mark. That's the workload you need from your starter to get in. And I understand that, maybe he's done that. Okay, here's the numbers. So he was about break even that season. He was a 1.01 goals saved above expected. So good, he helped your team. My point is that, do you remember that Red Wings team? Derek Lalonde was coaching that team. That was a low event, special teams heavy Red Wings team that, definitely rode the hot streaks of their goaltenders. But, this team's not good defensively. And I know with the improved defense, some people are going to be like, well, shouldn't they be better? I mean, on paper, they look better. And look, I understand, Rasmus Dahlin's not playing good hockey whatsoever right now. And Michael Kesselring is still getting his feet under him. But I still feel like when those two are going at a higher level, I still feel like this is a not good defensive hockey team. Just because it's Lindy Ruff hockey. He hasn't had good defensive hockey teams since Dominic Hasek was on the roster. The teams in the mid-2000s were very high event. I guess maybe they were a bit better defensively once towards the end of that team's as that core aged on and they had Miller winning that Vezina in 2010. They were probably a bit more well-rounded and, but they played to their goaltender again. But, in Dallas, they were very high event, and in New Jersey, he was very high event. And we're seeing it now. That's what they're looking to be. I mean, the JFresh numbers came out today. They're 7th in expected goals per 60. Great. That's what you want to see from this team. It doesn't feel fake. It doesn't feel one-dimensional. But on the defensive side of things, I believe they're ranked 24th along those lines. And my point in all this is I don't know if Alex Lyon can give you the goaltending you need to make the playoffs for 45, 50 games in this system at the level that's required. And I'm not saying Luukkonen will. I'm just saying I think he has to be the engine behind that. He has to be your main guy. I just think he does. And if he isn't, then you're in pretty serious trouble. Because I think what a lot of people also want to do is, Christian came on this episode and he's just like, I don't want him in this goaltending picture anymore. And I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. So that means you're, in a world where, people have the ability to be an armchair GM and trade Luukkonen to Edmonton or something for a pick, and your tandem's Alex Lyon and Colton Ellis. I feel like that optimism dries up pretty quickly. And do you remember what we were talking about in the preseason? I think it was our season preview episode. We were talking about the goaltending outlook because we didn't know when Luukkonen was coming back. And what did we say? If Lyon and, at the time, Alexander Georgiev were your goaltenders for a full season, were you making the playoffs?
No.
Does Colton Ellis sliding in the place of Georgiev really fix things that much? Don't get me wrong. Georgiev stinks. He let up 4 goals last night in the Amerks game. He's not a good goalie. He's not. And I would be willing to bet Colton Ellis is better. But does it really change things that much?
Probably not significantly, because at the end of the day, Lyon is your starter and Ellis is your backup theoretically in that situation.
So I am fully in support of getting Luukkonen going, and especially as soon as possible because he's got games to make up. He missed the last few weeks of training camp. He missed the first week or so of the season. He needs to get his reps in, and I think it's pretty important that he's the team's starting goaltender, for the majority of this season. And I get it. In reality, I probably have a lot more confidence in him at this point than I think a lot of people do. But, Saturday was a first good step into kind of finding his feet. And look, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I do think that it becomes really just your playoff chances really begin to dwindle, I think, if he's not a strong option in net, not just as a backup, but I think he has to be your starter.
I don't disagree completely. I do think, ideally, for the rest of the season, I don't think you could discount how good Lyon has played. Like, I think it's a 1A, 1B situation. Like, I don't see a situation where Lyon's already played 9 games where he probably... I can't see a situation where UPL finishes with that many more starts than Lyon at this point, if everything goes well. Like, I could see a 40 and 40
But it's Lindy.
split.
Like, he'll ride the hot hand.
Well, I agree, but it's going to go both ways. If Lyon gets hot again, he's going to play another, 7 out of 9 games. So I think it's going to be more even, but I do think, like, UPL had a very good game. You probably do want to get him going. I mean, there's only 6 other goaltenders in the NHL, assuming these numbers are updated, that have played more than 9 games. So, like, Lyon's already towards the top of the league in games played. You might see him get a little rest here with UPL getting some starts. Maybe finally getting Colton Ellis another start. So, I could definitely see ramping UPL up. I guess the start of this little conversation more or less was, I understand that UPL probably needs to get going for this team to be good, but there's no way in hell that he deserved a start more than Colton Ellis. I can't believe Ellis hasn't played another game after his really
No,
good start.
but at the same time, we've talked a lot about over the years now. Tough decisions have to be made. And I feel like this is one of them. Are you going to give the good story another start, or are you going to, risk it on someone that you probably are going to need to lean on a lot more? Because if let's say Colton Ellis has the same game that Luukkonen has, when's Luukkonen's next start? Because, there's 3 days of rest. Let's look at the schedule right here. There's 3 days of rest. Okay?
After this next week.
No, I'm saying, like, between, like, let's say Ellis played Saturday. He gave you, Luukkonen was actually break even at, like, exactly. The Capitals had 3 expected goals against, 3 of them went in. So, like, let's say Ellis literally gives you that, a break even performance. Who are you going to on Tuesday? I feel like you're going back to Lyon, right?
I don't know. I think in that situation, you might actually go to UPL.
You would go, but would you go Lyon, Ellis, then UPL?
Maybe. You got 3 goaltenders. Got to play them. I don't know.
I think it also made a lot of sense to do Luukkonen that night because Washington was on the second half of a back-to-back. I feel like they probably thought they would have a little bit easier of a night than they actually probably did versus, a red-hot Utah team.
That's true.
But, like, let's say, because then you probably go Lyon Tuesday. I feel like Thursday St. Louis comes to town. I wonder who's going to get that start.
Yeah, if Ellis is going to start another game, it's going to be that game. So
yeah. I don't know. I just feel like you would have gone a really long time between Luukkonen starts, and, like, that's the opposite of what you need. And, look, I'll be the first to say they should have left him in Rochester a lot sooner. I think they should have done that. Yeah. They should have seen more of this tandem at first, but now that he's up, you've put yourself in a corner, but I feel like choosing him over Ellis, I think it was the right move. I'm not saying it was the deserved move, but I think, sometimes you got to, step over some people to, do the thing that you think is best for your team, and I think this Luukkonen one was the better one. It's a feel-good win. The team sure was on the second half of back-to-back, but it's a Washington team that is playing really well. It came down to Luukkonen, how much confidence. Think of just the amount of confidence he probably gained from that shootout alone, going 5 for 5.
The overtime, too.
He was
incredible.
He was, the Sabres had a terrible overtime. Washington was all over them. And, even just the small mental victory of, hey, you didn't let Alex Ovechkin score number 900 on you. and he had his chances. So I think it's a big win. It's a big win for Luukkonen. I think I understand why people hated it. I understand why 2 minutes into the game it looked like an awful decision. But I don't know. I would probably keep going on the Luukkonen train for now. Because I hate 3 goalie rotations. But I especially despise like a tried and true 3 goalie rotation. I think the only time a 3 goalie rotation works, I think, is when you have a designated starting goaltender. Like, I think if it only works when you have a guy getting 40 to 50 games a year and you're rotating the backups. I think the 3 goalie rotation works best when the starting goalie doesn't realize it's a 3 goalie rotation. Because people go, I don't know, they go between starts a ton. They have long periods of, starting games, and I don't know. I feel like I've always hated that the lack of momentum that a goalie can build between starts, what that ends up resulting in. I don't know. I feel like it's maybe just me, but I just hate them. But I don't want to see starts just being handed off here.
I think everybody hates a 3 goalie rotation. And I think that's partly why I also want to see Ellis get in, is because everybody's saying, it's only a 1 game sample size. Like, I agree 1,000%. I just feel like you have to make a decision. Like, you cannot go on with this 3 goalie rotation too much longer. Like, I think once some people come off the IR, like, you're not going to want to carry 3 goaltenders. Like, when Danforth comes back, with Josh Dunn has had a few good games, like, there's just not going to be room for 3 goaltenders. So you need to make a decision. It's probably going to be Ellis no matter what. Almost, like, there's a 99% chance Ellis is the one waived at the end of the day. But I feel like you should at least see what you have with him in more than a 1 game sample size. Probably give him at least 2 or 3 games. Like, if he plays Thursday and has a bad game, like, I could see them waiving him pretty soon after that. But if he has a good game, then, like, I don't know. Like, it changes things. You need to see what you have with them before you make this decision, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough. I mean, it's very tough, and they totally did this to themselves. And I understand why. I understand why they got insurance on Luukkonen. I understand, like, Colton Ellis is literally too good of a goalie on waivers to pass up. I mean, I don't know what the waiver wire order was that day, that week. I mean, I think it's just based off the previous season because it was before the regular season even kicked off. So you would assume the Sabres are pretty high in the waiver wire order. Would he have made it all the way through? I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see. I was wondering the other day, I was like, obviously they put themselves in a situation. They signed Georgiev for a reason. If he had a backup for 3 weeks, or 2 weeks, like Ellis did before UPL came back, it would not have been the end of the world, but they put themselves in the situation. But I'm worried of us waiving Ellis and then the Blues pick him back up, and then he has, then he plays really good, and it's like, oh, why did the Sabres drop this guy? And now UPL's not playing good, and that line's not playing as good as he was before. I want to know what we have with him because he's had really good numbers in the minors. And you can say the same about Levi. I would say the same about rotations.
I would say the same about like Eric Comrie though. Like I've been referring Ellis to like Walmart Eric Comrie. Like he's a upscaled version of that. Like Eric Comrie had these first month or two with the Sabres, and then he got hurt, and then he came back, became a part of the 3 goalie rotation, and kind of dropped off. And today, we see he's a backup goaltender. He's okay. You're right. Because I do want to see more of Ellis. I want to see more of what the flaws are. I want to see, what does hold him back. And get a better gauge on the type of goalie he is before you make that decision. But it's just tough. It's tough to get starts in. You really want to win games right now, and you want to, at the same time, ride the hot hand. You want your starter to be starting as many games as possible, and I don't know. It'll be interesting, but I am of the opinion that Luukkonen being your 1A goaltender, I think, is pretty imperative to making the playoffs. At least for the majority of the season. They can play hot potato as the season goes on. Alex Lyon. At the end of the day, Alex Lyon once upon a time stole the job from Sergei Bobrovsky for 2 weeks. It's goaltenders. They're voodoo. Weird things happen. I think that's also what. I just think this is what the Sabres are also thinking, and I also think, hey, the goalie making what does he make? Was it 4? Is it 4.75?
Isn't it?
4.75 or is it 5 point? Or is it? And I'm blanking.
4.75. You're right.
4.75. Yeah. I don't think it's a mistake that the guy they gave the big deal. They want to, give him the shot.